I'd like to regale one of my favorite stories of the West Coast Express years, and it involves me and my mom's drunk ex-boyfriend going to a game in 2003 against the St. Louis Blues.
Ryan called a lot of guys uncle in the early 2000s.
Oh, what if my mom's listening? You met my mom.
I love your mom.
If she's listening, she's proud of you, son.
So I begged my mom to give me tickets to a Canucks game, and they're so popular that all you can get were single tickets. And so we buy 2 tickets in separate sections. Yeah. And I'm like, my mom's boyfriend was just like, he'd drink a case of beer every night. And I'm like, please come to the game with me. I don't want to go with Dan. And she's like, oh, and my mom, she's like, I don't want to go to a hockey game. Just go with Dan. It'll be fine. It's like 6 o'clock at night on a work night.
Time's ticking, though. You got to get to that game, bud.
Dan comes up the stairs, just like stop, like
he's a few deep already. He
is as many deep as we are, and then some.
He's heard the call of the Rockies. There's a trail of silver bullets behind him.
We take the bus down, and he's already drunk, and he's swaying onto the bus, like can't keep up with the motion drunk. We get downtown. I'm like, oh geez, we got to go look at the warm up. I'm so excited. I haven't been to GM Place in 2 years.
Teenage boys love the pre-skate, and that's about it.
And he says, no, we got to go to Moxie's, and we got to meet some friends of mine there first. So we go up to the bar.
Pre-drinking before the Canuck game is very important. You know that now.
He's been pre-drinking all day. He was on I think he was on vacation at this point. He leaves me to go drink at the bar. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? So I go to the game, and I have my mom's cell phone just in case. And I'm sitting there the whole game. He doesn't arrive till like the second period at his seat, which I can see. And I can see him, and he's swaying back and forth, and he has 2 beers in his hand. So he comes and gets me, and he goes. He worked for IGA, and they were having they had one of the big suites at GM Place. They were booked for some party, and he's like, I got 1 ticket for in here, but if you play it cool, we'll get you in here. So I'm learning how to keep a poker face, and I'm in grade 10. We sneak into this party, and he's so goddamn drunk.
Is there a jean jacket on him involved in any way,
tell me
shape,
there is.
form? A ripped jean as well?
So he buys me a bag of Smarties, and he buys 2 more beers for himself.
That's a Canadian right there. 2 beers for him and Smarties for the kid.
So I see him 2 more times before the incident.
Wonder why this guy isn't in your mom's life anymore. He sounded like a real peach.
This was a pinnacle, and we'll get to the rest of the story shortly. I see him 2 more times before the incident.
The incident?
This is the first time I see him. The second time I see him, because he's buying more beer, and he asked me if I wanted anything. And he said, and this is the day that they traded for Brad May to come back in 2003.
Oh, second stint, Brad May.
I
was going to put us over the edge, boys.
Dan's up in the suite again, and he's ridden the elevator up with guess who? Brian Burke. And he goes, I rode the elevator up with Berkey. And he's barely making it. He's like, oh, big guy. And he's like, notion how big his gut is. And I'm like, and I'm like, oh, you didn't say anything to him, did you? And he's like, yeah, I told him that I really like the May deal. And I'm like, what did he say? He said, he was just like, thank you. And I'm like, oh, geez. So next, the incident happens. You want to hear about the incident?
I think everybody wants to hear about the incident. There's already been several in this story.
This game was wild. They tied a 4-4 in overtime. Crow got tossed from this game, and it was like the best game ever. Midway through the third period, 4 or
You're up in the suite at this point?
No, I'm at my seat because I just want to watch the game.
And Dan has ditched you.
I haven't seen Dan for about 25 minutes.
You're 16. You're okay.
No, I'm younger. I just turned 15.
Yeah, he's pretty friggin' irresponsible there.
You got to remember the late blooming, though.
Late blooming.
He's a young 15.
Like
the wallet inspector would
I'm
have
gonna-
a field day with you.
He's a pretty dry 15, if you know what I mean.
I'm
Yes.
still wet behind the ears. You'll learn how young I was when I tell you this. 4 or 5 General Motors Place security guards come up to the section.
Oh, no.
And they're looking for me.
Oh, boy.
And they come. And
I've never heard this story before.
And I'm like, right away I'm like, something has happened. And then they look. They look. I guess they look at the seats, or they look for me. And he's like, "Are you?" They come up. He's like, "Are you Ryan?" And I'm like, And I'm not. I'm still young, and I'm not like, "No, I'm Jeff." I'm like, yeah." So he's like, "You're gonna have to come with me. We have your stepfather."
We have him. We have him.
So I look at my mom's cell phone, which you can't hear in GM Place, and there's like all these missed calls. So we're walking to the gate, and I'm around all these security guards, and I hear him talking to his microphone. Oh, yeah, intoxicated male, we have located the stepson. and I see Dan, and there's 2 guards around him, and I'm like, what happened? And it's like, you guys are gonna have to leave. This man is too intoxicated to be here. And I'm like, Dan, what did you do? He's like, I'm sorry, I'm laughing telling this story. But in his drunk voice, he's like, yeah, I accidentally tripped coming down the stairs, and these 2 fucking assholes started following me. Go, Dave.
So, your mom's ex-boyfriend, was he like the basis for the character that is Randy Marsh on South Park? Because that's who I'm kind of imagining.
Oh, Jesus.
Story.
Oh, wow, I could tell you enough tales. I did not like going there every weekend.
So, okay, what happens next? Like, is he thrown in the drunk tank? Your mom's got to pick you up? Like, what happens?
Oh! Right? This story is like an onion. You keep peeling it, it gets better.
Okay. It is related to the West Coast Express, folks, because he was on the ice. You know, they're all 3 of them were there. So.
Uncle Dan sounds like he's real stinky, just like an onion. So let's continue this.
My dad's gonna love hearing this story. So we get taken to the bad guy section of GM Place, and
it's where my new office is.
We get taken to the elevator and out of the Center of Excellence room, and I go, Dan, why didn't they just throw you out? And his brilliant idea was, they can't kick me out if my quote-unquote son is here. So they come and grab me, and they literally throw us out of the doors of GM Place. And as I've been saying, I am young, late bloomer, young. What is my first thing I do as soon as I exit GM Place?
You cry.
I start crying like the world is coming to an end.
Like you're banned for life and you can't believe it.
Yes. I'm crying so much. So we start, and he's just like, ugh, like he doesn't understand why I'm crying. I don't understand why I'm crying. We start walking up the steps to the stadium SkyTrain station, and there's this guy, this like, white, just this regular guy. Looks like, I don't know, he looks like a bit of a thug. And he comes up to me, and he makes this crying notion with his hands. He's like, hey, what you crying about? Where?
Oh, salt in the wound.
You're allowed to laugh, Aaron.
No, I know. I just don't want to spit my beer out.
Salt in the wound.
We get on the SkyTrain. I've called my mom and told her what happened. And she lived in Port Moody. She's like, you have to meet us at the Production Way SkyTrain station.
The new at the time Production Way SkyTrain.
Absolutely. That's a fancy new station at the time.
2003, this is a fancy station. We go to he's so drunk, and I'm from Abbotsford. We go to Lougheed Mall by accident. So we have to go back. I'm sorry. I hate having to backtrack. But we go to Commercial Drive Station, and we have to cross to get on the Millennium Line. Yeah. We're on the walkway, and he's like, just pissed drunk. I'm crying my eyes out still. He's like, what do I gotta do to make it up to you?
Shaking you.
He's shaking me, like, trying to rub me to get me to stop crying. I'm like, leave me alone. This woman walking towards us with an umbrella.
Oh no!
She instantly turns it into like a weapon. It's like, hey, is this guy giving you trouble? And I go, no, he's with me. So we go to Lougheed, and he's so drunk, he's like swaying on the walkway, and I am growing up so fast in this night
Because you got to manage this situation now. You're in charge.
Yeah,
You're the responsible adult.
I'm the man in this situation, and he's swaying like back and forth. Up comes SkyTrain security, and it's like, hey, you're too drunk. You're gonna have to sit down, son. Your dad is too drunk. He's gonna have to sit down. And he's like, and I'm like, he's not my dad. And it's like, he's not? Then who is he? I'm like, he's my mom's. And before he cuts me out, it's like, I'm his stepdad. I'm like, no, you're not. And so we get on the SkyTrain for the
He wishes.
we get on the SkyTrain for the one stop, and then we can't find my mom. And we're waiting there, and Production Way, it's just an industrial park. There's nothing really around it. And he's like, I thought your mom's meeting us here. I'm like, I don't know. I think turns out my mom is around the corner waiting for the right time to speed up in the Honda and pick just me up.
Leave him. Oh, she's furious, man. Like,
My mom, he turns
who
her
is
back.
good people, by the way.
My mom
Absolutely.
comes screaming up with the windows. I was like, Brian, get in right now. So I get in the front seat, and she peels out and leaves him at Production Way SkyTrain station.
Oh, that's just a classic Ryan's mom move there.